So, the Mario movie has just been released and the reviews that have come out so far have been mixed, to say the least. Some people love it, while others think it completely fails as a movie. As for what I think, well, it's complicated. There's a lot for me to talk about when it comes to my feelings with this movie, and a lot of my opinions are shaped by the fact that I've been playing Mario my entire life. I grew up with the series, playing Mario Kart with my dad, watched the Super Show on repeat. Hell, I learned how to read by playing Paper Mario. It's undeniable that I am a huge Mario fan, and my opinions are going to reflect that. So, keeping that in mind, here's my review of the Super Mario movie. First and foremost, I'm going to try and cover the things I liked and disliked about the movie without giving any spoilers. However, I will need to spoil the movie later on in the review in order to properly explain exactly why I feel the way I do about this movie. Starting with the pros, this movie's style is absolutely gorgeous. Illumination really outdid themselves with this movie. They had Nintendo money, and you can tell. Every shot of this movie is so colorful and vibrant and detailed, it's amazing. Brooklyn especially had so many details that I feel like I need to watch the movie back again in order to actually catch them all. The art's also backed up with one of the best soundtracks you could possibly expect from a video game movie. Brian Tyler was handed the entire franchise's library of music, and he does not put it to waste. Every track is filled to the brim with melodies that a Mario fan will recognize and appreciate, and the few songs that were composed for the movie are fantastic and they fit right in. The main theme especially has been stuck in my head. Another positive for the movie is that it really is a Mario movie. They were not scared to reference the series at all, and it stays true to the games. That point specifically, I'll come back to later. A lot of people are probably wondering how well the voice actors portrayed their characters, and I'm happy to say that all of them fit very well. The big main concern when the trailers were coming out was Chris Pratt as Mario, who many thought would sound out of place, and frankly, the way they announced it was jarring, to say the least.
He's so cool.
So, what did I think? I thought he was great. Actually, Chris Pratt was the one celebrity who I thought was the best. Charlie Day as Luigi and Jack Black as Bowser are both amazing casting choices, but you can still hear that it's Charlie Day and Jack Black in the movie. For Chris, I didn't even process it was him until I saw his name in the credits. It was definitely a different voice for Mario, but undeniably it fit his character very, very well. Moving on to the characterization, all the portrayals of the Mario cast not only fit, but they also really made me appreciate their characters more in the games. The games don't really do too much to develop the personality of its cast, and I feel this movie is going to do a good job in shaping how people see the characters for the better. Mario's not only shown to be capable, but he's also very sweet. He's also really determined, and overall, he's a great protagonist for the movie. Luigi is still portrayed as a scaredy cat, but I really don't think that they overdid it at all. Luigi's fear seemed more reasonable throughout the movie, and he came off as a realistic outlook to ground Mario when his emotions got him stuck. The strongest part of this movie is the brotherly love between Mario and Luigi. It was done very, very well. Peach's personality, at a glance, seems very different from what people would expect, and I do think there's gonna be a lot of people that think she's too much of a girl boss and isn't elegant enough. One argument that I had already seen a lot is that she feels like Daisy, and this is something I disagree with. Peach in this movie is strong and capable, and she gets many scenes where she proves to be able to handle herself well, and I think it actually works really well for the movie. She feels very similar to how she did in the old Super Mario Adventures comics, which is a portrayal that really made her feel like she deserved to be the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom. I'll touch on this later in the spoiler section, but I know that people are going to pin the movie's problems on Peach, which is just simply not true. It has many problems, but they can be solved without having to turn Peach into a damsel in distress. Toad is comedic relief done right, but man, I wish they did more with him in this movie. He's super fun and confident and adventurous, and they barely do anything with that, which is a shame. Once the main conflict starts up, he's sidelined really hard, and it sucks because Keegan-Michael Key did an excellent job making him feel different from the other Toads. I'm hoping that if there's another Mario movie, it'll give him a better role in the story. Jack Black as Bowser is the perfect mix of intimidating and hilarious, which I'm glad the movie was able to portray. Bowser's role in the games varies quite a bit, and the movie was able to make him one of the funniest characters without sacrificing him as a threat when they needed him to be. They knew what they were doing with him, and I couldn't be happier. The last role I'll touch on before getting to the cons is, in my opinion, one of the weakest ones of the main cast, that being Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Now, don't get me wrong, Seth Rogen did a good job, and Donkey Kong is very fun to watch on screen. Hell, his fight scenes are a highlight of the movie. The reason I say he's the weakest of the main cast is simply because Seth Rogen's voice just has a hard time coming out of the giant Kong. Overall, his performance is good, and I like how they portrayed Donkey Kong in this. He's a vain and confident hero of the Kongs, but in a cast of really, really great picks, he's the one that feels the most like his actor, if that makes sense. Now, getting to why the reviews for this movie are so mixed, it's definitely because of the story. It's kind of just straight up flawed. It has many great moments in it, but unfortunately, if you've seen the trailers, the movie doesn't have that many new scenes for you to see. You can pretty much guess how the movie's gonna be paced just from the trailers alone, with the exception of the final act of the film, which was fantastic, and it was easily the best part of the movie for me. The mainline Mario games really don't put that much effort into making a story, as the games focus on the journey rather than the goal. Remember earlier when I said that the movie really stayed true to the games? That unfortunately also includes its lack of focus when it comes to how the events in the story play out. The main cast goes to lots of locations, but unfortunately the movie only really focuses on the Mushroom and Kong Kingdoms respectively. The other locations are just dedicated as backdrops for a travel montage. In order to further explain my points for the movie, I'm gonna have to go into spoiler territory from now on, so if you want to watch the movie spoiler-free, now's the time to click off the video. But before you do, if you've enjoyed this review so far, it's actually my first scripted video. If you look at my subscriber count, I'm still a very small YouTuber, and honestly, I stream more often than I make content like this. If you enjoy my insight and you want to see more of not just me, but my friends as well, I've streamed loads of content from the entire Sonic franchise to, right now, the entire mainline Zelda lineup in order to prepare for Tears of the Kingdom. It's good to have on in the background while you're working, and if you want to see more scripted videos or streams from me, then subscribe. Also, just leave a comment with suggestions for topics you'd like me to cover. I'd be more than happy to. Alright, with the plug out of the way, I'm gonna go more in-depth into what parts of the movie I liked, and also what I disliked. Again, spoilers. The first 20 minutes of the movie set up Mario and Luigi as a great duo. Their chemistry is the best part of the movie, and seeing them trying to get their plumbing business off the ground was genuinely great. The issue with the movie comes in, unfortunately, right when they get transported to the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario and Luigi get separated, and they stay separated until the end of the movie, which is very bad considering the relationship was one of the strongest things in this movie. Luigi was very much the damsel in distress for this movie, and I wish he got more scenes of him trying to survive in the Dark Lands before getting captured, which happens almost immediately. He spends the entire movie in a cage, and they really didn't need to do that. Bowser is already a great threat in this movie, and Luigi just being in his kingdom is more than enough reason for Mario to try and go and save him. They honestly should have saved Luigi getting captured for way later in the movie, maybe right before the Rainbow Road scene, or even after it in order to make the failure of the cart raid hit a lot harder. Another issue is that the movie only really focuses on 2 places, and we never get more than a passing scene of areas like Toast Arena and the Snow Kingdom. There's so many great locations that they could have used for the movie, and the pacing really could have slowed down a bit and focused on the world outside of the Toads and the Kongs. However, I will say that I enjoyed the Kongs in this movie. The kingdom as a whole is characterized great, and the fight between Mario and Donkey Kong is such a good moment in the movie. I just wish that the trailers didn't reveal so much of the Kong's involvement, as well as basically everything up until the wedding between Bowser and Peach. Speaking of Bowser, his goal to marry Princess Peach is played comedically, and it honestly works really well when juxtaposed against the insane lengths he goes in order to gain what he wants. The one gripe that I do have is the inclusion of basically nothing involving Galaxy. I get that it's the first attempt at a Mario movie, and they wanted to keep it simple, but if that's the case, then why have scenes alluding to a larger world, described as having so many galaxies, and why include Luma Lee in the prison? I guess they were supposed to be comedic relief for the scenes with the prisoners, but including Luma in the trailers really made people think that there was gonna be more than just them in the movie. I really enjoyed all the nostalgia as a whole, but I really enjoyed all the nostalgia and fan service given in this movie, as it was filled to the brim with references in Nintendo history as a whole, but it surrounds a plot that just kind of feels rushed and a bit empty. The final act of this movie is great though, it's just like the start of the movie. Bowser wins the battle on Rainbow Road and actually forces Peach to marry him in order to keep the Toads safe, which felt like a good way to leverage Peach's people against her. The attack Peach gives during the wedding gives some great action before bringing Mario back into the picture, and just all of the fighting at the end is really, really good. There's a lot of weight behind a lot of the actions that Donkey Kong and Mario put out, and the entire scene as a whole is fantastic. The final set piece for the battle between Bowser and Mario is fantastic. Brooklyn and the Mushroom Kingdom get merged after Mario uses a bonsai bill on the warp pipe that got him into the Mushroom Kingdom in the first place, and it's so colorful and just grand. It really, really felt like a final scene for a movie. The final fight between Mario and Bowser has so much weight and power, and Luigi stopping Bowser's fire in order to allow Mario to get the Power Star was a very nice detail. The beginning and end of this movie are both so great, which just makes it a shame considering how the middle of the movie feels to me. Overall, I thought this movie was great. Like, is it flawed? Yes, it is flawed. Would I recommend it to people? Yes? No, kind of. Yes, I would recommend it to people. I think it's a great watch, and I do think if you enjoy the Mario franchise, you'll enjoy this movie. But if you don't really know much about Mario, and if you just don't really care too much about it, a lot of the things in this movie will just not click with you. And I don't know if that's something someone would have fun with. There's a lot of room for improvement, and with the after credits scene of Yoshi's Egg implying a sequel, I do hope we get a much better movie from this later on in the future. My final thoughts are that the Mario movie is a movie for Mario fans. No duh. I personally really enjoyed it, but I can't guarantee that you'll enjoy it if you go and see it. That being said, I do recommend that people give it a chance. It has a lot of effort put into it, and you can tell that everyone working on the movie cared a lot about it. With great visuals, charm, and music, you may be able to enjoy this movie as an experience, despite its flaws. And because of that, I'm going to end off this video by rating the Super Mario Bros. Movie a new Super Mario Bros. Wii out of 10.